Hello and welcome to the Passenger Seat Podcast, a podcast designed to fill your passenger seat with chat about classic cars, all recorded from my 1968 Morris Minor Peggy. I'm Becca and today I'm at the International Women's Day meet that I've organised, and we're going to have a great time today talking to people who have come along, telling me about their cars, their experience of owning classic cars as women, and why they came along to today's event. So I hope you enjoy hearing from all of these wonderful women, and I'm so grateful for them to have come along to the event, taken part, and also coming and sitting in my car with me today. So I hope you enjoy, and I'll be back at the end to wrap things up. So we're joined in Peggy by Kim, who's come along in one of your many cars. Tell us about the car you've come along with.
So I have come in my little Citroen Saxo VTR called Chucky the Chav Chariot.
Yep.
I bought him in October last year to strip out and make into a rally car, track car, targa car. So he's a 1.68 valve,
Yep.
which I prefer to the 1.616, which is the VTS. He's my little pocket rocket. My yob box is fabulous. So yeah, he joined my fleet last year.
And he's done a great job of bringing you down all the way from Northumberland?
Teesside, yes.
Teesside, yeah.
Yes, so up near Newcastle. He's never skipped a beat. He's been fabulous. Very good on fuel, surprisingly. So he's, yeah.
It's nice to have a car that goes fast, but also doesn't cost you the earth in order to run.
The only thing it does cost me in is oil, because he does drink the oil a little bit more than his petrol.
Well, at least if he's drinking it, he's not spilling it, which is what Peggy can sometimes do.
Oh, does she?
Yeah.
That's a nice. So you don't just leave a pool of oil under.
No, she's a lot better than she used to be, because she had an engine rebuild. But yeah, she doesn't eat it, but there's sometimes a little mark on a driveway or something.
Bit. But yeah, so he's come all the way down from Teesside. Like I say, he's never skipped a beat. He's fabulous. I never thought I'd buy a French car because I'm very much a German VW kind of girl.
Okay.
So yeah, my husband why don't you think about a Saxo for my tag car, track car? To which I found him, and yeah, I've eaten my own words.
You enjoying it?
I love it.
Good.
It is so good.
So what is it about cars that you enjoy?
It's everything about cars.
Yeah.
Because there's so many variations. You can have a car for every day.
Yeah.
And every car will be different. It picks up your mood. You can go out for a drive in a car, and you could have the worst day ever, and you could get in your Peggy for you.
Yeah.
I could get in my Chucky and just go for a drive, and everything just it's like a website.
I love the fact that I use this car to commute, because if you have a tough day at work, you get that drive home where you're just having a great time. Yeah. So what made you want to come along to today's meet?
Because it's a celebration of women who love cars. And I was explaining to my husband that it's very difficult to go to a car meet and meet other women who actually enjoy cars. Yeah. Because there might be few and far between, and this is something that's really, it's bringing a community together. And I've met so many wonderful people and some wonderful cars today. Yeah. Which I never would have, because you don't get it at a big car meet.
No, you're kind of one in many, and there might be other women there, but sometimes you're not sure who owns the car or whatever, and you don't know who you're speaking to, and
what you find is if I go to a car meet, they'll go to my husband as opposed to me. Yeah. And it's like, he'll go, oh no, it's her car, she's the one that's worked on it, she's the one that's done all the fitting and all that. Yeah. And they'll look at me and go, oh, so it's your car then? Yeah. I'm like, yes it is. And I can tell you every which way around it.
Yeah, no, that's great.
So yeah, it's just a wonderful, and I really hope you're going to do this again.
Well, hope so. It's been a really nice reception from everyone so far. So I think I'd be in trouble if I didn't do it again.
You would. We have you on Twitter.
We can. You know where I am. You can find me. What's been your favourite car that you've seen here today?
Oh, definitely the. I'm not entirely sure what it's called.
The A40 Somerset.
Yeah. When that pulled up, I'm sorry, but my fist, I think I was next to you.
I think we were all collectively very excited to see that car.
Yes, I was. I've never actually seen one in the flesh. I've seen one in photos, but that for me, it's and the way she's come dressed as well.
Yeah.
It's very, very in that sort of era, and I love it. So, hats off.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well, thank you very much for coming, and thanks for having a little chat with us.
No, it's fine.
And I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much, and you too.
So, we're joined by Katie, who's perhaps better known as Wrenching Wench over on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, the works.
Everything.
And you've brought along your Scirocco.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your cars and your love for cars.
Well, yeah, I've brought Sylvester, my Scirocco. I've had it for nearly 5 years now.
Yep.
And my first classic. Oh, if you could say it's a classic, it's quite modern compared to yours.
No, I'm definitely a classic in my eyes.
And yeah, and it sort of started an addiction, a problem, a hobby. We'll go with hobby.
Yeah.
Hobby, yeah.
Hobby tends to be the more acceptable way of talking about this. Yeah.
So now I have a Scirocco, I have an Audi 100 Avant, which, if you follow me, you will know George has been quite problematic. But
it's a little bit naughty.
Yeah, but
Everyone's got a naughty car and the well-behaved car.
I see them as like children. So like Sylvester the Scirocco is like the golden child, the
firstborn, so well-behaved.
You just think, God, I'm gonna have another one. And then the second one is just the spawn of Satan, and you just think, what the hell is wrong with me? But no.
I'm here with my sister today, so I won't agree too much, because I am the firstborn and she's the second.
Mind you, I'm the second born, so... But, yeah, but he's behaving now, is George. We went out yesterday to the British Commercial Vehicle Museum.
Yeah.
So it's about an hour away from our house, and he was fine. So he's behaving for now. We're friends again now.
And you love using your cars and getting them out to events and stuff, don't you?
Because, I mean, this is the first time the Scirocco has been out properly since the end of September,
which
is just... I'm a bit ashamed of myself for that, but, you know, you park him up and then you get busy, mainly fixing George, so that's why he's not been out. And then I recently bought a Mark II Golf GTI shell.
Yep.
So, just because I'm a glutton for punishment is what...
You wanted the garage space, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
you wanted the garage space off of your neighbour.
Yes, my neighbour's son, who has a garage next to our house, and he came round and he offered me the garage with the car and all the spares. And I was like, oh no, I don't want another project, but I'll take the garage. And then I looked at it, and it's actually not that bad condition, because it was parked outside for about 7 or 8 years. And I used to want to buy it when it was parked out there, and I thought, God, it's been sat outside for years, it's going to be rotten. But it's actually not that bad. In fact, I'd say it's probably more solid than the Scirocco.
Don't let it hear you.
Behind that body kit. Ooh. But yeah, but then I also tweeted about it. This was my biggest mistake, is tweeting about it.
Yeah.
And then the entirety of car Twitter just went, get it. And I was like, okay, because I'm easily led.
that makes sense. Yeah,
So,
you've talked me into it.
Yeah.
Because you're quite well known on Twitter for tweeting about your job as well.
Yeah, that's kind of where my following came from. I think it was just more during lockdown. I was just posting the general stuff I was seeing, and people liked it and kept following me from there.
Because your job is kind of a mechanic on a fleet.
Yeah, a fleet of mainly vans, but we have cars as well.
Yeah. So
it's all just self-drive hire. But some of the states that I see is just it's mad.
Yeah. And why did you want to come along to today's event?
Just because I just love seeing women into cars.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as if I'm driving down the road and I see a nice car that's like a classic or modified and there's a girl driving it, I'm like, oh, let's be friends.
Yeah.
Like there's a Beetle that's local to me. I think a white Beetle, and there's a young woman who drives it, and I don't know who she is, but every time I see her, I'm like, can we please be friends?
You're so cool.
And she never notices me because I'm never in my car, and I'm like, who are you?
And that's the thing, like, I think a lot of us know each other vaguely online and things like that, so it's been nice that we're now all like in real life friends.
These are all real people.
Yeah.
All the people in my phone are real.
Yeah. And their cars are real, and I can touch them.
Yeah.
So what's been your favourite car that you've seen here today?
I mean, I am a sucker for a Mondeo.
It's a lovely Mondeo.
I very much have a soft spot for Mondeos.
And it bought you some spares.
Oh, yes.
So
that's probably why I should say that as well, actually. Yeah.
It's brought you along some spares. So actually, you know, it's a very helpful Mondeo as well.
Yeah. Because this is going to sound really weird, but one of the main reasons I'm so into cars is because of Mondeos. Because my parents had them growing up and were in like car clubs, and they sort of did some light modifying, and that's how I got into cars. Was through Mondeo owners groups. So they have a very special place in my heart, the Mondeos, and I'd love to have one day.
One day on the fleet.
One day.
Once George stops costing you so much money.
Yeah, once George behaves. Yeah. If I get more space.
More space is always a bonus. Well, thank you very much for coming along today and having a quick chat with us.
Thank you for organising this meet and having me along.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
I will do.
Thank you. So we're now joined in Peggy by Heather, and you've come along in your VW. Tell us a bit about...
well, I've come in my Mark 5 R32 today. I wanted to bring my Mark 1 Golf, but I thought it's a long way.
Yeah. So where have you come
really cold.
from?
I'm from Worcestershire.
Yeah.
So yeah, about 160.
It's quite cold today.
Yeah. But it's lovely. I mean, I don't feel it when I'm out there because there's so many nice people to speak to, and a really interesting mix of people and cars as well. So
yeah, we've done well. It's exactly what I hoped for in terms of having a mix of cars, mix of people, and
the old Bill's just turned up.
Oh no, we're in trouble.
Oh no, they're after you. Where's the organiser? Oh, sorry, I'll keep you in the car. We don't know where she's gone.
So you've come along in that, and you've got the other car. Is that your full fleet?
No, I've got 6 cars at home. I've got a bit of a problem with cars. I've got a Mark 1 Golf.
We call it a hobby. We call it a hobby. It's not a problem.
It's not well, sometimes it's a problem. No, it's the best kind of addiction to have, really.
Yeah.
I've got a Mark 1 Golf GTI, which I've had for 22 years. That's my pride and joy. I've got a 1969 Dodge Polara. I've got a 1973 Pontiac Firebird and a 1964 Mark 1 Cortina Hot Rod, which is currently undergoing an engine rebuild, and a Volkswagen Passat, which is the sensible one. So you've got to have one sensible one.
You've got kind of one for every possible event and scenario and everything.
Definitely, yeah. Best of all worlds. You've got the Cruiser, the one that if you want to tear up the roads, that you obviously don't do, stick to speed limits, but you know.
Especially with the police in earshot.
Exactly. It's all right, but that'll be fine. No, it's best of all worlds. I think it's every car's got something to offer, haven't they, really?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a lot of people have been saying, actually, some of these cars that I've come along in weren't the car that got me into cars and things, but they're a car that's made me realise how much other cars have to offer.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, to be honest, well, my story was I never really wanted to drive in the first place.
Okay.
Wasn't into cars at all, really. I just, it wasn't my thing. And a friend bought me a provisional driving licence for my 18th birthday. I thought, oh, God, I learned to drive now. But to be fair, well, whichever way you look at it, it's probably the best thing that ever happened, really. Yeah. And so the Mark 1 Golf GTI, I keep pointing over there, but it's not over there. That was the one, really, that sort of got me into the scene, and it changed everything. It changed me, changed my outlook. It introduced me to people and events and so many different walks of life.
Yeah.
And had it not been for that car, I probably wouldn't be the person I
It's
am
absolutely
today.
A lifestyle. Owning any of these cars here is absolutely a lifestyle in terms of the kind of impact that it has on everything, your group of friends, meeting people like today and everything.
Absolutely.
So what made you want to come along to today's event?
Well, obviously Katie with the Scirocco, she obviously sort of tagged me in a tweet about it. I thought that sounds really good. It'd be good to meet other women that are sort of from the automotive world, and there's only a handful of people I know here today, but everyone I've spoken to so far is brilliant. Yeah, lovely mix of people from all different walks of the automotive world. My background is really from events and sort of meets within the area, so it's great to meet other people from PR people and obviously YouTube fans. And lots of different people from all different walks. Lovely mix of people and cars. I think it's good, meet more people and sort of empower women as well. Yeah, no, it's been so good to meet some of these people that we know, like the 5 people that you knew before now. Yeah, there might have been a few more that you knew of online kind of thing, but now you've been able to kind of meet them in person and they feel a bit more real now. Yeah, definitely. It's great, isn't it? I think, especially it is a lot of virtual sort of connections that you have with people, isn't it? Life is busy and it is easier to fall on to sort of go onto sort of social media and meet people through there, but actually to meet them in real life, and they are, people say, oh, be careful who you meet on social media, but to be fair, if you're sensible about it. And normally if it's in the car world, organised meet like this, it's hopefully all okay. No, it's been lovely to meet people, and obviously, yeah, brilliant day. Well done you for organising.
Thank you. What's been your favourite car that you've seen here today?
It's going to have to be Katie's Scirocco. I'm sorry, I'm a bit of a VW nut, but I like everything.
Yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
from my fleet, you can tell that. But I've always liked Scirocco's, and it's so nice to see it.
It is.
But also, that over there.
The A40 Somerset.
That's just lovely. Oh,
Yeah.
and the Chevy pickup. There's nothing to do
Yeah,
with us, but that's
they've
really
come
nice
along
as well.
yeah.
But no, it's lovely. They're a lovely mix.
And that's exactly the mix. You've got everything from a Scirocco to a custom A40 Somerset, and everything in between and more.
Definitely. And the little Saxo as well. I mean, you rarely see Saxos now. They used to be sort of 2 a penny, and I had a nice chat with the owner of that earlier, and they're brilliant. Just lovely.
And it goes to show that I think sometimes women who are into cars, people expect them to be into a certain type of car or whatever, and the fact that we've gone, okay, we're getting together here, bring whatever car you want to do, and the variety that we've got here is something different to kind of a lot of events that you'd have otherwise.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely. So it's just brilliant. There's not more than, well, there's one of everything, isn't there, really?
Yeah.
Whatever your sort of preference, it's just fantastic.
And most countries have got some representation as well, like even Malaysia with Steph's Proton.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, thank you ever so much for coming along today and making the effort to come over and having a chat with us in here today.
No problem, thank you very much. Hope you do another one.
Okay, so we're joined by Faye now, and you haven't come in a specific car today, but you are in the automotive world and things. So tell us about kind of your automotive background.
Well, I started off in motorsport at the age of 19 when I was at uni, so 20 years ago nearly. I've always worked in PR. I did a PR degree and worked in PR motorsport, and then did some work for Jaguar and Aston Martin, and then had my children. I took some time out to have my children, and 3 years ago I set up my own PR agency to work with some smaller brands in the automotive sector and tell some stories that perhaps weren't being told as well as they could be. So
awesome. Yeah. So how did you find being a woman in that space?
I think so. I can say, because I'm old, I can say it's changed a lot. It for the better. When I began, if you were a woman that worked in motorsport, people assumed that you were a grid girl, which I don't know. But these days, that's just not the case. Well, first of all, there aren't grid girls anymore. But I think there's still work to be done. But I actually genuinely think men in automotive are open-minded to that. I think they need some guidance on how to attract new female talent. I think it's a team effort. But I can see more and more women coming through and being empowered. And I think the women that are in the automotive sector are supporting each other and bringing in new talent. And if everyone's on the same team and has the same goal, it's heading in the right direction, there are more women in... I think traditionally women have always been in marketing and comms roles in motorsport and automotive. But I think there's more women coming through purchasing, finance. You've got managing directors that are women now. It's growing, and I just maybe the future is kind of they're not seeing a difference ultimately. And being judged on your skill set rather than your gender. That's the dream.
Absolutely. How have you found today's event?
Oh, magical. I feel like I've got so much to learn. Because my technical mechanical knowledge isn't great, but just listening to the stories of how the cars have come into people's ownerships and how they care for them, and it's a sense of an extension of your personality, so why they like it and the little details that they love
and the things that they've done with it, the adventures and the friends and the events and stuff like that.
Cars bring people together.
Absolutely.
And they take you on journeys together, and you share things and experiences and knowledge and stories, and I just think that is special. So it's been a special day. I can't wait to do more. Thank you for setting it up.
I've asked that question to everyone, and everyone ends it with thank you for setting it up, and I feel really bad because I'm not doing this to get the thank yous. I'm doing it to...
Somebody has to make these things happen, and it won't always be you, but somebody has to do it, and it's you, so well done.
What's been your favourite car that you've seen here today?
I'm going to go with the Scirocco because it's just cool.
Yeah.
And the interior on that.
the white steering wheel just really sets it off.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've got a coloured steering wheel, but I don't know if I could ever live with a white steering wheel and the stress of it, especially when you know that sometimes you're going to have to fix the car to keep it going, kind of thing.
Well, for me, a white steering with the children, anything white and the car just won't go.
But yeah, Katie looks effortlessly cool in it.
Yeah, she does. It's like asking what's your favourite child or who's your favourite friend. They all are so special in their own way that it's hard to pick a favourite.
It's been a great time to like meet all these cars and see the variety and everything.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for coming along today and meeting everyone and being part of it.
I'll see you again soon, I hope.
Absolutely. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
So we're joined by Steph now in the back of the Morris Minor. Of course, you've never been known to be in a Morris Minor ever before.
Oh, I have been in too many Morris Minors to count.
Do you know, most people have got in it today and said, oh, I've never sat in a Morris Minor. And I was like, yeah, we'll wait till we get Steph in here. She'll be giving me a full review of how comfortable the seat is and things like that.
Do you know, your upholstery is really nice in here, actually.
It's the original.
Is it?
The front seats are a bit worse for wear, and that's why we've got the covers on. But yeah, it's not too bad.
I think she looks fantastic. Say you're out in her every day.
Yeah.
These cars were not built to get to 2023 and still be driven every day. You're doing a smashing job.
She knows it. She knows it. So you've come along today in the Proton.
I have indeed, yes.
How was your trip down?
Entirely uneventful. Now, I had hoped to bring my Morris Minor because realistically, actually, Becca, something I should say is you have really spurred me on personally to get my Morris Minor back in the game, back over the line, because the restoration, the job is fantastic, as people will see on the channel.
But it took you so long to get to this stage and to be able to do it.
Yeah, and it did, and I would say that to people at home, is that you go to a show and you see somebody's shiny car and it's like, well, actually, they've probably hung on for ages and ages and ages before they've got to that stage. So don't look at your car and think, oh, I'll never get to that stage, because my car was a 500 quid banger held together with gaffer tape with penguins on from Halfords, and now look at it, it's actually nice.
Yeah.
But no, I was hoping to bring the Morris Minor, but I just haven't had time to go and grab out of storage, and also it's the first year and I don't really want salt up inside all the arches.
That's it, isn't it? Like, whoever decided International Women's Day was in March did not want us to have lovely, warm, sunny car meets, did they? They were like, no, you're going to absolutely freeze on an airfield for the day. But I think people have had lovely warm conversation, and that's been what's kind of keeping people going despite the cold today.
And I think actually something that I hope other people have championed in their conversations with you is you yourself are a very inspirational woman, both professionally and in that automotive space, because what you do anyway professionally is incredible, but also automotive wise I think you've been great. You've come in, you've taken over what was, I'm sorry to say, quite a dull young members register.
It had gone really quiet and stuff, hasn't it? So.
It'd gone from the days of us being the young people that were propping it up and doing mad stuff and being all over, and then there was almost like a lull, and then you've come in and injected so much colour, enthusiasm, personality, organisation that I just don't think it had, and I think that that's really great, and I think that you've welcomed people into that space that maybe might not have felt like they'd wanted to come into it before, and you've been really great with that, and I think that's really nice. And I think the way that you talk about people, you talk to people, is very inspirational. You put your money where your mouth is. You've put this meet on today, and I think you're a fantastic inspiration, actually.
Thanks.
That's all right.
we'll have to leave that in, unfortunately. So thank you very much. So what made you want to come to this meet when I said that I was going to put it on?
Because first and foremost I wanted to come and support you as your friend, and also because I thought it was an incredible initiative, and I thought no one else has ever done this before, and it's a really big thing, and I've been in the scene myself for over 10 years, and I've seen it go from a space where I remember my first, I'm not going to tell you who it was, but I'll tell you off camera who it was. Someone I went to one of my first car shows was the Morris Minor Owner Club National Rally. It took me a while to get up the courage, and so it was 2010 was my first one. And no, was it 2009? No, 2010 was my first one. Or was it 2009? I can't remember anyway. It's one of
way
those.
Back then.
The one at Harrogate anyway. And I remember I turned up and I didn't feel as welcome as I think women feel now at
Yeah.
shows. It felt like a bit of a weird space, and that's something to celebrate today, that we've moved on so much, even just in 10 years. And I mean, talking to Amanda today, as I'm sure you have, you see how far it's come from those days of Dagenham girls at machines.
Yeah, and to be able to put something like this on and everyone feel comfortable enough to come. And also it's worth noting that this was well publicised, especially by people like yourself online, that you were going here, and yet we haven't had anybody who's disrespected the fact that we've tried to put on a meet for women, about women and about their experiences. And that's been a huge relief for me as someone who's organised it, that we're at a stage within the automotive world where we can do things like this, make inclusive events like this, get a good turnout, and also feel like we've done what we set out to achieve.
Absolutely. Remember, every show starts with just a few cars, so who knows where you'll be next year.
Yeah. So what's been your favourite car here today?
Oh, that's like trying to pick someone's
I know.
favourite child. Well, Scarlett's Austin has been...
It's a popular one.
Oh, it's been a firm favourite of mine for many years.
Yeah.
I find her very inspiring as well. The work that her and her dad Tony have done on the car is just incredible, and I love it. And I remember when Scarlett had it as its
original form.
self, before she rolled it. And look at it now, it's just, oh God, it's just so, if nothing else inspires you to go one better than what the manufacturer did, look at that.
That's what should have come out of
Yeah.
the factory when Austin were doing their thinking.
Absolutely, absolutely. And thank you so much, Becca, for your hard work today. It's just been an incredible day out. Thank you.
Yes. And thank you ever so much for coming and bringing along people as well.
6 hours of driving, mate, but it was worth it.
Oh, thank you. Wow. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you very much.
So, we're joined now by Jessica, who's come along in the Nissan.
Nissan, yep.
Tell me about your Nissan.
It's a 180SX 1997, which I bought in 2018, sight unseen, off the internet from Japan.
So you imported it yourself?
I imported it. I had a company import it for me, because there's all sorts of
paperwork
and paying the tax, especially, and organising it, getting onto a boat is a nightmare. But yeah, I had them import it for me, and then when it arrived in the UK, I registered it and got it on the road, and I've had it ever since.
How did buying something sight unseen go for you? Because was it what you expected? Was it as good as you hoped?
Yes, I mean, it was for sale by a used car dealer in Japan, and they had pretty good pictures of it. And the importing agent I used, they actually had someone in Japan go and drive the car and look around it and check that it wasn't.
That's really reassuring and stuff like that.
It wasn't a big pile. So.
Yeah. So that's one of your fleet. You've got other cars?
Yeah, I have 6 cars, unfortunately.
6 problems, but you love them all.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So tell us about some of your other cars then. What else have you got?
Well, I have a 2-door Morris Minor, much like this one, except mine is almond green.
Oh, lovely.
And that's actually what I'm doing on my channel. I'm doing a modification series on my channel, Scrubworks, where I'm putting a sort of Mini Cooper built 998 engine into it, with some disc brakes and some other wizardry. Just
so it'll go?
It should go, yeah.
Nice.
It should move from one point to another.
Yeah, lovely. And what else have you got?
I have a 2000 Mazda Demio, which those of you who've played the original Gran Turismo may remember, a little Japanese hatchback, which is full of rot.
Yeah.
But I'm welding that up. It was only £350, so there you are. And I've always just sort of wanted one.
Yeah.
And it came up on eBay, and so I nabbed it. I've got a Mercedes 190 diesel, which I have as my forever car because it runs on vegetable oil.
Wow.
And what else do I have? I always forget. I've got a 1992 MX-5, which I bought. I bought that years ago. I bought that in 2014, and I've had that a long time, and it's got a lot of rust in it, so it's in storage at the moment. And I have a 1966 Ford Mustang
Wow.
coupe,
Nice.
V8, which I don't drive very much because I'd be bankrupt if I did.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So, what made you want to come along to today's event?
Well, Steph of I Drive a Classic told me about it, so I got a ticket and popped along because I only live about half an hour away. So
ideal. Yeah, you're one of our closest ones.
Definitely,
Absolutely. Yeah. Have you enjoyed the day?
Yeah, no, it's been fantastic. It's a bit cold and windy because we're on an airfield.
Yeah.
But there's some cool cars and very nice people. So yeah.
Nice talking to people and getting to meet some people and stuff from
definitely.
online and that. What's been your favourite car that you've seen here today?
Well, there's a really nice black Nissan 180 SX.
Oh yeah,
and
it's great poppy up headlights that everyone loves on cars.
Oh, it's hard to pick actually. I mean, there's a chop top Austin A40, which is really nice.
It's been popular,
very
absolutely.
Beautiful car. There's a really nice white Mark II, I think, 80s
Scirocco. Yeah.
I love a nice 80s square car, and of course there's a Morris Minor, and I always love Morris Minors.
Thank you very much. Didn't pay you to say that. I was about to think actually we might get to the end of this video and nobody said the Morris Minor, but no, we've done it. Great. Well, thank you ever so much for making the effort to come along, even if it was half an hour. And enjoy the rest of your day.
No problem.
Thank you. So we've now got Carly back in the back of a Morris Minor.
Yes.
How are you finding it?
It's lovely. It's lovely. I'm just admiring your lovely blanket and your very swish setup.
Yeah, it's cosy and warm in here,
which is very nice.
That is a nice break from outside.
Gosh, it's cold out there.
And you've been busy today talking to people and recording things as well.
Yeah, I have. I've been trying to catch up with as many people as possible because everybody's got their story to tell. We follow everybody on social media. You see all these amazing skills that everybody's got, and it's just lovely to meet everybody together. And I'm really grateful that you did today because it's a safe space. Some of the people that are here today wouldn't necessarily have come out to other meets, but they feel safe here.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important.
Yeah, it's been really nice that people have felt able to come along, felt comfortable coming along, and have felt comfortable enjoying themselves and being just really enthusiastic about their cars and everything without feeling like anybody's judging them or thinking that they don't know what they talk about or anything like that.
I'm going to say it's your dad's car or your husband's car.
Yeah, no, we're all here in our cars
and
we all know that. Well, yeah, but
she's here in spirit.
Yeah. And so you've come along today, you made a big trip over on the trains and everything, and then came along with Steph in her Proton.
Yeah.
But you've got a lovely little Daihatsu Charade.
Yes, I have. She's an L251, she's 1 litre, on an 06 plate, Daihatsu Charade or Mirror or Quarry as they're also known. And we bought her in, I think it was 2020 we bought her for £190 and she was going to be the Bangonomics car. We were going to get her to the next MOT and then that would be the end of it. But unfortunately, I fell madly in love with this car. Oh God, I love her so much. And she's kind of anthropomorphic because when you open the door, she goes, "Hello, happy."
Yeah.
I was like, well, that's me sold.
And that's it. Like, I bought Peggy and I was like, okay, so this is my first classic. It's my first car. I'll have it for a bit and then eventually I'll try some other stuff. And yeah, now I'm planning on spending a lot of money on having her restored and resprayed and looked after. And you just get so attached to them, especially when it's your first car and you're learning to drive in yours as well.
I was feeling really empowered by the thought of this meet and a glass of wine, so I booked my theory test yesterday.
Oh, congratulations! So when's that?
It's in April. I'm not going to say exactly when.
Yeah.
But it's in April. And then it will look to sort of do the practical test as well, because Jemmy and I, we've been driving around a lot over the past week or so. I'm getting more and more confident, making less and less errors. So, and it's purely a confidence thing with me. I have tried to learn to drive before, actually got to my test, and it was purely nerves that did it for me. But the difference was I didn't have my own car and I wasn't driving between the lessons, so completely different.
It makes a big difference being able to do the practicing and stuff between sessions and having your own car that you're comfortable in and you know your way around.
Yeah, and I've never been comfortable in a car like I am in that little car. So she's recently gone through an MOT, and it was just awful because we did an engine swap on her.
Yeah.
I'm not a mechanic by any stretch. I'm a complete amateur, but she needed a new engine. She was burning oil, so we did a direct engine swap, And so we'd put the engine in, I'd clean the engine bay, clean the front wheel wells and so on and so forth. And then she went up on the ramps, and just as they lifted her in the air, my heart sunk and I went, oh God, we didn't look in the rear wheel wells. I was like, that's where it's going to be. That is what's going to cause her to fail this test. And lo and behold, he tapped, rust fell off. I was like, oh God, oh God, oh God. So that was the end of the test, and I thought that might well be the end of this car. But thankfully, our garage, we've got a really good garage.
Yeah.
And they've done a huge amount of welding in the back there, because it was both rear wells in the end. And she lives. So, yeah. But yeah, a bit traumatic.
Yeah, it's so, and that's it. You feel so guilty sometimes when that happens, where you're like, well, is that my fault? Because Peggy's got rust in various places now that wasn't there when I first got her, and it's like, is that my fault? And the reality is, it was going to crop up at some point, regardless, especially with the age of her and things. And so it's then you've got to just enjoy them and try not to feel guilty about using them and enjoying them.
Well, exactly. You don't really want. People get a lot of joy from, the cars that are trailered into shows, or they come out once a month and they only come out between, say, May and September and things like that. But I think cars should be driven. Shemi's done 131,000 miles. There's nothing about this car that should be so appealing. She's high mileage. She is a complete pain in the backside because she's showing her check engine light again. But I just love her.
yeah, it doesn't make any sense. So what made you want to come along to today's meet in particular?
Well, my nanny was she was a massive activist for just about everything that you could be. She was anti-nuclear bombs. She was anti-political, political prisoners and so on and so forth. She'd write to political prisoners. She went to Greenham Common. She got arrested on numerous occasions. And it kind of inspired me to come and do this, because being a woman in the world of cars, we get a lot of flack just because we're women.
Yeah, and you almost more than some other people here, because of the platform that Ian's got and the fact that you've come into his existing platform. That's caused some upset for some people that doesn't make any sense at all.
No.
But is then can leave you feeling a little bit uncomfortable and sometimes a little bit unsafe in your enjoyment of cars.
Well, this is it. I mean, I've never at any point have I come into this and gone, do you know what, I am a professional mechanic and I know everything about cars. I don't. My dad was a huge car fan.
Yeah.
My dad had lots of unusual cars. We had a Fiat 126, we had a Renault 5, he had a Ford Cortina Mark IV, we had the Citroen CX Familial.
Yep.
So, which was the coolest car ever. Like, people still talk about that 30 years later.
And it's so funny because my parents had those cars too, but they had them when they weren't that cool.
So
and then I'm like, wait, you guys had one of those?
Yeah.
What? Tell me more.
Yeah.
Because Weird Car Twitters really got you into, that was quite cool that my parents owned one of those.
Yeah, the point in case for me was, when I was a teenager, like 14, 15, my mum had a Fiat 126.
Yeah.
And my school was on a hill, and it was awful. Like, I'd be at the top of the hill trying to be a cool teenager like you do. And I'd hear it from the bottom of the hill, and it would be like, is that your mum's car? Is that your mum? And I was like, no. And then mum would be like, ooh. Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Wow, they're so cool.
Yeah.
They are so cool.
Yeah. So what's been your favourite car that you've seen here today?
Do you know what? It's just nice to meet the cars in the metal, like Mildred the Mondeo. You follow the story of these cars, and the Proton. Have I met the Proton? I don't think I have met the Proton. It's just lovely to meet them all in the metal.
Yeah.
You follow their stories. You get emotionally attached, to these cars.
And that's it. Like, all these people, all these cars. So many of us know online, but haven't had the chance to meet in person, to have those conversations, and now we're having them, and it's been great.
It has. It's been brilliant. I mean, it's a testament to you. This is a brilliant venue as well.
Yeah, cold, but we're all glad to be here.
Yeah, I don't know if you know, my current obsession is aeroplanes. So.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, have you had a look around the hotel and things and stuff inside?
I haven't. I'm gutted. That is a hotel I've seen on TikTok and stuff. And
yeah.
I was like, bugger, I didn't know that was here.
Maybe we won't move next year. Maybe we'll come back here and
It's a lovely venue. It's a lovely venue, and it's relatively central for everybody as
Yeah.
well, which is important. You know, it'd be hard
That's-
for it to go west.
That's it. I was trying to find somewhere central, somewhere that was like not too far from everyone, decent enough road links, like the A14 and the A1 aren't that too far and stuff. And I mean, you've come by train, and that was a bit more challenging, but I think a lot of public transport is challenging from where you're coming from. It probably got easier the moment you left Wales.
Not so bad.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. It was supposed to be like 3 trains. It ended up being 6 and a bus.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm very thankful that you managed to come and that you put the effort into to come in.
Yeah, well, I had a moment where I walk every morning for my sort of mental health. So, and I was walking along, it's when I do my big thinking. And I was like, well, Ian doesn't need to come to this meet. I said, I need to go to this meet because I am woman.
Yeah.
But I just thought I need to do this independently of Ian. Because it's such an important thing to me.
Yeah.
As you mentioned, you know, you get so much abuse. Actually, I'm very lucky. We get minimal abuse, and most
Yeah.
people are really respectful. But
The ones that you do can be quite difficult to deal
horrible.
with, and so then it's so lovely that
yeah,
you're.
but just for the information of those that like to post the nasty comments, all we do is I copy and paste them. I send them to like you and Steph and Katie and Leanne and so on and so
We
forth.
all have a giggle about
we
it.
have a giggle, and then I delete them.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's like water off a duck's back.
Yeah.
I don't care, but weirdly, it's when it affects other people that it impacts me more. So, for example, my friend Leanne, she's on Whiteland Restorations, and it's always been a couple channel, and it's always been a family channel, and she got a comment the other day saying, "Oh, too much women and children," and I felt more angry for her than I ever have for any of my comments.
And you also feel a little bit angry sometimes about the fact that it might put somebody else off, and so you're then like.
And this is it.
And so having events like this where people feel safe and are able to come along, that's hopefully going to turn that around a bit.
I hope so. And just ideas that people are bouncing around, like Jessica was saying about maybe setting up a forum that is more inclusive.
Yeah.
You know, where you can and trade ideas and whatnot without the whole offensive backlash.
Yeah, it's tricky to navigate online, but yeah, we're going to look into some things I think after today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe a burn book for, for all the comments.
Absolutely.
Just put them on there.
Well, thank you again for coming in.
You're
I hope
welcome.
you've enjoyed
Thank
your
you.
little sit-in, Peggy,
Yeah, I have.
and warm up. And,
Yes, that as well.
enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
So we've now got a double whammy in the back seat. We've got Chloe and Sammy who have come along in Mildred the Mondeo. Where have you guys come from today?
Southampton. We stopped at Oxford first as a
Yep.
midpoint with my parents, and then we came from Southampton, and then came to here. So we came to the other Hampton, the Northampton.
The Northampton. And have you got a big trip back tonight? Straight back tonight, or are
It
you
probably
stopping?
will be actually, won't it?
Yeah, stop at
Oxford first.
Pick up the dog, and
Yes.
then drive home.
Yeah.
Yeah, my parents love to babysit the dog.
Oh, nice, ideal. So you've come along in Mildred, but that's not your only car at all.
No.
No.
You guys have got quite a collection that we've all probably seen on Twitter.
Yeah, we've got Bree, Renault Clio RT, Peggy 205.
It's for sale. Shameless plug.
And that's it currently, with more to come, which will...
A Triumph 2000 from 1970 and a 1983 Daimler Sovereign.
So what gets you in? Because that's quite a broad range of cars. So what gets you interested in?
Mine comes from my childhood, because I spent my childhood around the Banger guys. So they had a garage in Oxford. I won't say which one, but they had a garage in Oxford, and they had a lot of cars that came through because they were all cheap back then. So they would either banger race them or scrap them for cash and whatnot. So my experience with a lot of cars, because I've actually been in a lot of cars for someone who's only 24. So my experience comes from the fact that they always had lots of different cars, and when I was a kid back then, I would just play about in them and pretend to drive them and that sort of thing. So I've got so many different memories of various interiors, various exteriors, stuff like that. So that's where my broad interest in cars came from. And of course, the Triumph and the Jag is more my dad's sort of thing. So he's always had Triumphs and Jaguars and stuff like that. So that's sort of a continuation of that, because I've always appreciated them. And and also because they've got 6-cylinder engines and they're fun.
Yeah. What about yourself?
I kind of grew up liking cars, but never had an upbringing where I could get involved in cars in any way, shape or form. I grew up with Ladas. That was my dad's workhorses.
Yeah.
I still love a Lada now. But I think, just over the years, I'm now loving driving the cars that I grew up with in the 90s, watching around the roads going, oh, can I not be one of those? Rather than the Lada. But I now love driving them, and
it's one of the things we
fun.
don't get from modern cars. Like me and you look at modern cars and we go, we could never see ourselves in one, which is a shame because there are some cool ones out there, but there are some ones that they don't tick all the boxes because old cars for us have got the soul and the fun and the repairability as well that unfortunately has gone from modern cars. The right to repair movement is trying to bring it back, but obviously it's an uphill battle because so many companies are pouring money into trying to make them not fixable. I mean, modern cars, some of them don't even have a dipstick. You have to check the infotainment.
And that's the thing, if you've got a car that's not fixable, it's not going to last as long.
Exactly, and I find that wasteful.
Yeah, exactly. A car like nobody ever intended for this Morris Minor to still be here now, but it's a credit to the fact that it can be.
It's because it was probably, I think these were built by hand, weren't they?
Yeah.
So they were built by hand, so a lot of it was designed to be put together by hand, and as such, when you need to repair something, it comes apart by hand.
Yeah.
And I think that's fantastic. And it was a shame that we lost that because stuff's glued together now, stuff's clipped together. As soon as you try and pull it apart, it's junk.
Yeah.
You can't undo screws anymore. You can't undo bolts anymore. And that's a real shame because it's alienated the backyard mechanics.
Yeah.
Because it's really hard to get into now, especially with prices of retro cars going up. I really worry that we're going to lose some people because the barrier to entry is getting higher and higher and higher. So that's why the right to repair movement and everything is trying to get modern cars back to the stage where we can actually fix them, because it was a loss of control from the consumer, and I think that's such a shame because part of the experience of owning a car is also being able to fix it. Because when you have a car for a long time, especially something like a Minor like this, for example, somebody could have realistically owned one of these from new still, and imagine having a connection to a car that someone then tells you it cannot be fixed anymore because we cannot actually fix it.
Yeah, we can't get to the part. We can't repair that part. Yeah, no, absolutely.
You can't even get that part. I think
Exactly,
it's the point where even some modern cars, there's just not going to be the parts anymore.
There's a rule
There's
a rule in modern dealers. After 10 years, it goes in the bin. Because my dad used to work for a Fiat and Alfa dealership. And whenever the new models would come in, after 10 years, they were ordered to throw the parts away. Luckily, he had some sense about him and hoarded them. So he was able to keep
he's
them.
everybody's favourite person now.
So
absolutely.
He was able to keep a lot of them and keep a lot of them alive, which has been invaluable for people. Like, I've still got old parts CDs that tell you part numbers and stuff like that. Like that all that computer software that would have been lost to time if he hadn't saved it.
Yeah.
I've even put on YouTube old VHS training videos from Fiat and
Oh,
Alfa.
wow.
So even that information's all back out
and
there
that's
again.
and that's being preserved now for everybody else. Excellent. So what made you want to come along to today's meet?
I haven't socialised enough as well. I need to get out a bit more, and I like to meet like-minded people as well. It's really nice to talk to people who get it with old cars as well and stuff like that. They get the fun, the soul, all that sort of thing. And obviously, the nice thing, especially being on Weird Car Twitter, it's a community. It's a community of like-minded people who, we all look out for each other. We all get to know each other. Because I love getting to know like-minded people. Because, I grew up around people who they're interested in Lamborghinis and stuff like that. And they're fun and everything, but I would take a Morris Minor over a Gallardo any day, any day.
And your bank account would like you for it too.
Yes, exactly. And here's one thing you can't do when the Gallardo's battery's flat is crank it. You can reverse,
yeah,
put
absolutely.
the starting handle in and off you go. I like that. It's just, it's the community's got as much soul as the cars.
Yeah.
And I really like that.
It's as much about the people that you meet.
Exactly.
And having a thing like today has given us the opportunity to meet people and kind of that we hadn't met before, but we knew online.
I've met a few people
today. It's an accepting community as well, and we're all people, and that's the whole thing. We're all individuals. We're all just amazing people, and that's the whole point of this day. It's
one of the things I like about Weird Car Twitter. I've met so many people who just found me through my car, but then I've built real connections with. A great example of that is one of my friends, Kez. He's got my old Proton, and I just met him because I had a Proton. And yet we've become really good friends. We've helped each other through hard times and whatnot, and that's what it's about. I think it brings people together. And I really like that community sense, because in a lot of places today, a lot of the community sense has gone away from some things.
Yeah.
Like I say, especially because there's not a lot to be interested about with some modern cars as well. So the communities are different, and they may not be as accepting as well. Like the thing I like about Weird Car Twitters, we are all weird together.
Yeah.
And I like that. It's fun.
It's Weird Car Twitter for a reason.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the best part of the internet, I think, and I wish more communities were as inviting and as engaging as that, and all people who just want to, like, people you've never met that will, at a moment's notice drop everything to help you out. Like it's the best thing ever. I think it is amazing. Even now thinking about it, I'm just like, that blows my mind. It really does.
Well, just to wrap this up, what's been your favourite car that you've seen here today? Aside from Mildred, obviously. It's a tricky question, I know.
Obviously, I love the Minor because I haven't seen one in person in years, let alone sit in
That's
one.
quite unusual. They're usually street litter.
I know. The thing is, I love these things. I love especially BMC BL cars because I grew up with a lot of them. My dad's got a 72 Mini, and his friends used to have Oxfords and stuff like that. Like, I really want an Oxford 5. I think the Oxford 5 is so cool. So I might have to say the Minor, honestly.
Oh, well, thank you very much.
I love BMC cars. I think they're awesome. I would love one of these. I nearly did buy one, actually, at one point.
I'm sure
Well, your Triumph 2000 isn't too far out in terms of, towards the Leyland end, but, it's close enough.
Close.
Yeah.
It's definitely
and yourself?
close.
Well, I'm sure most people already realise. Scirocco for me.
It's been hugely popular.
Sylvester is amazing. I've always admired that car and obviously got close to it, but one day I will do again, and they are amazing cars. I love the look of them, and so by far for me today was Sylvester.
Sylvester's a lovely car. I must give an honourable mention to the Saxo VTR just because it's so different and they're not around anymore. They were everywhere because unfortunately they got boy raced a lot, so they ended up in ditches and things like that, and that one's clearly loved. They haven't even had it that long and they really do love it.
Absolutely.
I love the passion between the two people who own that car. That was really nice.
Well, thank you ever so much for making the effort to come along today. It's been lovely to speak to
you.
Thanks
for having us.
Thank you.
I'm putting the effort in to come along.
But thanks for having us. It's been a lovely day because I always get nervous going out sometimes, so it's really nice that this community is just so welcoming. It doesn't matter what walk of life you're from. It's like, come on in, have a chat.
If you like cars, you're here.
Lovely.
That's pretty much it.
Great. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
So we've got Genevieve in the car now from Fuel Power, and you've come quite a way today.
Yes, Southampton. We left this morning about 7:45.
But you're used to covering the miles because you were quite busy last weekend putting the miles on the cars as well.
Yes, last weekend we did 1,000 miles. Left on the Friday morning, came back Sunday night, all to raise money for the Crohn's and Colitis UK charity.
Yeah. And that went really well.
Yeah, we've achieved £1,000 this morning.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. Yeah, so we've really ticked off our thousands.
And of course, if you're going to put the Just Giving in on when you upload the videos and stuff like that, that's only going to keep going up.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, awesome!
Fingers crossed.
So you have your channel over on YouTube, Fuel Power, which you do with your partner and a few other people.
It's mainly just the two of us, but we do have some other people that crop up now and again as well.
Yeah, regular guest appearances.
Regular guests.
So what's your fleet look like?
It's varied actually.
Yeah.
We've got my Fiat 500, which is here today. Jake's got a Fiat Panda 100 HP and a Classic Mini and a broken Renault Megane Classic. But we also have a tiny caravan as well, which we restored and did that up last year.
And what's your plan to tow that with, like the Mini or?
That was the plan. Yeah. We're slightly worried about the weight of the caravan and the Mini due to it breaking the other car, but we're looking into different chassis and that sort of stuff. So hopefully it'll be back on the road at some point this year.
And a nice little setup for going to events and stuff like that.
Yeah, looked really good at Goodwood last year.
Yeah, I bet. So what has been like your motivation to come to today's event?
I think just the idea of going to a lot of car shows. I mean, we practically go to one every weekend.
Yeah.
And you do kind of, unless you have a real in-depth knowledge of cars and the mechanics and just the aesthetic version, like the sort of thing as well, you do kind of tend to get left out of conversations, and people look at you kind of like, oh, it's the girlfriend that's come along, and it's like, actually no, I do know enough.
You know a bit.
I know enough to get
feel
by.
Like you're held to a higher standard than a guy would be in that scenario.
Yeah, you have to know everything in order to be considered as knowing something.
Yeah.
And I have an appreciation for cars. I've grown up with cars. I've grown up going to car shows. Cars are. I was named after a car.
Yeah.
So cars have always been a thing, and I hold on to knowledge, and I don't mind watching the programs on this sort of stuff. And so I do pick up stuff, and I think generally going to your typical car show, I get left out of conversations. I get left out of that sort of situation. Whereas coming here, everybody was talking, and we were talking about cars, we were talking about other stuff, and it was just, I don't know, it was a nicer atmosphere in a sense for a kind of female in that industry, in that area.
Absolutely. And have you enjoyed today?
I've loved it, yes.
Yeah.
Despite the cold weather.
Yeah, it's been challenging because of the cold,
Yes.
and a lot of these clips are going to be mentioning the cold. It is
Yeah,
very,
it's
very
very
cold because we're on an airfield and we're quite exposed, but it's been nice
but as
to
long
talk
as
to
you're
everyone.
running
and-
around and
yeah.
chatting to people, you stay warm, don't you?
Yeah,
It's fine.
absolutely. You can get through it. So, what's been your favourite car that you've seen today?
Oh, I'm a bit of a sucker for a classic, so anything. I'd love to have my own classic car one day. But yeah, I just like how passionate people are, and it doesn't matter what it is. Just bring whatever you're proud to own. I like that.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of variety here.
Yeah.
A lot of things to differences and things to talk about, but we've all got shared experience, which has been something nice to talk about.
Nice.
Good.
Very good idea.
Thank you very much. I'm going to have a very big head at the end of the day, I'm sure of it. Well, thank you ever so much for making the effort to come up and for having a chat with us here, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
So, been amazing to speak to all of these wonderful people, and there were some others that came along, and unfortunately I didn't manage to catch them with my clips today, but it looks like it went down really well and people really enjoyed it. So these might become regular in some way, shape or form, at least a yearly International Women's Day meet for sure. So we'll get the opportunity to speak to and learn about some more people in future. I hope you've enjoyed listening to some more people and their stories today. And in the meantime, drive safely and happy motoring.